Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. In the last video, we have seen what is DNAT on the FortiGate Firewall, uh, or how to configure DNAT or destination net. Okay, so in this video, we will see how to do port forwarding. Okay, port forwarding is destination net only. Okay, but we will be translating the port uh, here. Okay, so suppose we have enabled telnet server on this server, okay, and for telnet port is 23, okay, like if I try to access it, so VIP is already configured for this server, which is dot 7. So in the last video we have already configured the VIP, okay, so dot 7 is the last IP mapped with 1.4, okay, so and port is 23 here. So you can see I am able to access the server now. Okay, so telnet is working fine, and from internet I am trying accessing port 23 only in the server and also port 23. But suppose user requested that for internet users ports should be 22 or 21. Okay, so we have to translate the port on the firewall. How can we do that? Okay, so for that we have to remove this one because we are doing changes for only one server. Okay, so what we'll do, we can mention uh, dot 6 here. Okay, so it will automatically take IPs for dot 1, dot 2, dot 3. Okay, so for dot 1, the public IP will be dot 4. For dot 2, public IP will be dot 5 and dot 6 like that. Okay, and now we will configure VIP for this server. Okay, suppose if you don't make any changes here, okay, in the external IP range, and if you try to configure VIP for this server, so it will give you warning like duplicate entry already exists. Okay, so if IP is already configured in VIP, so you cannot use that IP again. Okay, so you need to remove that or you need to use free IPs. Okay, so we will change this to dot 6 only. Okay, and for 172.16.1.4 we will create new VIP. And we have to enable this option. Okay, so what user requested if internet users access this server. Okay, so they should access port 22 for telnet. So we have to mention here external service port would be 22, and what is the port which is enabled on the server? It's 23. Okay, so and we have to allow, if you see here in the reference, it is not mapped with any policy. That is why it's giving 0. And if you click in one, it will show you like uh, on which policy this WIP is getting used. Okay, you can see if you click on the view list, it will redirect to correct policy. Okay, so now we can create new policy as well, or if telnet is already allowed in existing policy, we can call WIP here itself. Okay, so telnet ICMP is already allowed in this policy, so it's fine if we put this WIP in this policy itself. Okay. Now, if we have to access telnet, so earlier we were accessing telnet on port 23, but if I try to access now on port 23, see, port 23 is not working because we are doing port forwarding on firewall. So, see, so from internet, I'm connecting to the public IP on port 22. What firewall is doing? Firewall is translating public IP into the original server IP. Also, firewall is translating the port as well, or forwarding the port from 22 to 23. Also, there is one more benefit of port forwarding. Suppose you don't have much public IP here. Okay, you have only one public IP. Okay, which is 111.7. Okay, I'm deleting this one first. Let me remove. If I don't remove from policy, I cannot delete the WIP. Okay. Now reference it is showing 0. I can delete. Okay. So now suppose user wants, okay, that from internet user should be able to access telnet for all these servers. Okay. By default, telnet works on port 23. Okay. So you can allow access towards one server only for 23. Okay, so for one server you need one public IP. For another server you need one more public IP. Okay, so for all four server you need four public IP. Okay, uh, if you don't do port forwarding, okay, then you need four public IP. Okay, how it will work? So suppose from internet, user would access this IP on port 23, and this is the original IP, and port telnet. Like this, you need to configure WIP. Okay. So if you don't do port forwarding, okay, suppose if I'm not doing port forwarding, so I need to connect on port 23 only. Okay. See. I'm able to access on port 23. Okay, but can I configure same IP for other server? No, it's not possible because this IP is already utilized. Okay, so I need more IPs to enable telnet for other servers. Okay, but if I do port forwarding, like for first server, I'll use port 22. For another server, I'll use port 23 only. For third server, I'll use 24 and 25. If I configure like this, will it work? And we'll take same IP only. Okay, let's try. So port forwarding. So first I'm configuring for this one. Okay, so 22 to 23. Just clone. Okay, you don't need to create new WAP. You just clone it. It's a duplicate, and public IP would be same. Private IP you have to change it. Mention here 23. External map to port 23. Okay, again clone dot 7 private IP external 24 and original port 23. Again clone. I hope you're not getting confused with this. Okay, so now we have created 4 WIP, same public IP but different server and for telnet only. Okay, and here we have to allow all the WIPs. So now let's try to connect one by one and we'll see the logs. So, so first we will try to connect 1.1 on 23. So 192.168.111.722. So if we connect 22 port here, it will try to connect 1.1 23. Okay. We are not getting response because telnet is not enabled on 1.1. But you can see in the logs that it is passing successfully. See, our this is our internet user's IP address. This is public IP. This is our 1.1 server. This is external port and this is server port. And it's accept and it's taking correct policy. Okay. Now, if we try to connect 23, same IP address but different port. So external internal port are same. That is why it is showing 23 only. It's also taking same policy. Okay, but you can see here server IP has changed. If I try to connect 24, see, if you try to connect 24 from internet, the server IP has been changed. It's 1.3 now. If you try to connect 25, Okay, I think for 25 I have configured. For 25 I port also it's taking 1.3, but it should take 1.4. I think we have configured wrong WIP. So just check here. Okay, see, I have configured wrong IP here. So I'll just enable because on 1.4 telnet is enabled. So telnet should work fine at least on this server, and for other server telnet is not enabled, but traffic is successfully passing. It is successfully getting netted, and also port forwarding is working fine. So now again try to see. So for 1.4 I am able to telnet. Okay, 192.168.25. Okay, 5 and so right. So I think here telnet is not properly working with 25 because 25 is reserved for SMTP port. So maybe that is the reason. So basically, you uh, always need to take, unassigned port. Okay, don't take reserve port. Okay, or assigned port. So you can check that on IANA websites. So I'll just change the port here. Even I'm not sure about 26. See, with 26, telnet is working fine. User. Okay. So 25 is reserved for SMTP server. That is why from 25, telnet was not working fine, but with 26, telnet is working fine. Okay. You can check the port list from INA website. Like, okay, so in this website, you can get idea like which port you can use and which you cannot use. Okay. See, 26 unassigned port you can use for TCP UDP both. So unassigned port you can use, okay. But if it is unauthorized, then you cannot use unauthorized port. If you even if you use it, it will not work, okay. So you need to check here what is unauthorized port, okay. So see, port number 100, it's a unauthorized port. So if you use this port, you won't get access. It will not work. Okay. So in this website, you can get idea like which port you can use, which is reserved for other service or which is unassigned port. Okay. I hope it is clear now. So I would suggest go and do this lab on EVNG. And in case of any doubt and curious, just uh, put same on the comment. Okay, I would try to, reply back to you. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much, guys.